Hey Dudley, how's it going?
Hello there. How are you?
I'm doing well. So, what's going on in Colorado? You have some news out of Rocky Mountain gun owners and NAGR and everything going on out there, huh?
Well, yeah, we dealt with a very very blue legislature, which has changed over the last decade, mostly due to demographics, and then some left wing Republicans neutering the conservative base in the state. And what it's really done is allow the legislature to repeal preemption. Therefore, all these cities decided they could run around and make a patchwork of laws. And of course, every town for gun control came into the state and held a symposium and encouraged all these cities to do so. Well, one city that did it, and a few others followed suit, was the town of Superior, Colorado. It's a small town, about 14,000 residents just north of Denver. And it's still in Boulder County. And they passed, amongst other things, a magazine ban of greater than 10 rounds and, of course, an assault weapons ban. And this is really put together by a very woke city council and a particular activist who got elected to that council and pushed it. They pushed the ordinance. The ordinance passed this year, and it was supposed to be enacted at the end of July here, and basically told residents you can't have guns
Right.
in the town of Superior. You can't have loaded guns. You can't carry them in public. You can't have semi-automatic magazine-fed rifles. You can't have greater than 10 round capacity magazines. Blah blah blah. Well, so we filed suit on behalf of one of the residents in the state, and who actually lives in Superior. And we were surprised because we got on the random draw for federal judges, and we filed in federal court and said, under Bruin, this does not work. The Bruin decision basically says you've got to prove these things in historical and traditional context, and they can't. Well, on the random draw, we got an Obama-era progressive appointee who we thought, okay, they'll rule against us. We'll probably have to go to the Court of Appeals. And much to our surprise last week, that judge actually ruled on not just a preliminary injunction, that comes down the pike next week. The judge actually granted us a temporary restraining order, which is not normally done in these cases, but we thought it was necessary given the short time frame. A temporary restraining order against the sheriff who would enact this ban on behalf of the city and the city itself from enacting these bans. And so if you read the actual response from this judge, who clearly isn't happy to write this, Judge Moore said, I got no choice. Even said, quote, the court is unaware of historical precedent that would permit a governmental entity to entirely ban a type of weapon that is commonly used by law-abiding citizens for lawful purposes. And then later said, given the claims of the plaintiffs that these are commonly used, that under Bruin, they almost have an almost certain chance of success in this case over the whole case. In other words, this judge just tipped his hat that I don't have a choice. These guys are going to win the case, at least on those two major points. Now, there's some minor points to it, or, well, maybe not minor, but carrying guns in public, and the judge may actually be correct in that respect. But on the major issues on assault weapons and magazine ban, this is the first case we know of in a federal court in which Bruin was actually used by a judge. And
Yeah, I
agreed
don't.
to.
Yeah,
So
I don't think there's been any other ones that come to memory. I'm trying to think. I mean, so much has changed so quickly, and so much is going on. And it was like about 18 pages of rhetoric that judge put out, I believe, right? Is
Yeah.
that about right?
Yes. Yeah, it wasn't a short answer, but some of the quotes in here were just flabbergasting. The attorney who filed this for us, his name is Barry Arrington. Barry was the attorney who filed in state court in 2016 is when we went to trial on the magazine ban statewide in Colorado, and which we were ultimately unsuccessful in overturning because they were using that balanced approach,
Right.
balanced interests. And of course, Bruin throws that all out the window. And so he was actually on vacation last week when we got this ruling, and he called me and said, "You could knock me over with a feather right now." I was flabbergasted by how good this ruling was, even from this judge. And essentially, they say we're going to win. So now we are going to file. Our Rocky Mountain Owners is going to file in federal court using the Bruin decision against the statewide mag ban, and that's just in a few days.
Oh wow!
So we're gonna take that into federal court and do the same. And who knows? Maybe they just throw that in. They might even throw it in with the cities suit because it's the same thing. And without going into too many details on that original case against the state that we ran in 2016, and we filed that immediately after it was passed into law by the legislature in 2013. That magazine ban, we cornered the Attorney General's office and their attorneys to stipulate to a number of issues, not the least of which, and most important in this, is that they stipulated to the fact and agreed, no, there's really no historical precedent. Now, at that time, that wasn't that groundbreaking to admit that, because admitting that there was no historical precedent doesn't really mean that the case is won. Because the court was just balancing interests between law enforcement. Now, you and I both agree, John, I think that it doesn't make people safer to ban, quotes, normal capacity magazines, and it damn well doesn't make people safer to disarm them. The only people it makes safer are the thugs who don't care about the law.
Oh, yeah.
And they're gonna carry whatever guns they want. If you're going to commit first-degree murder, what do you care about violating a assault weapons ban or a magazine ban? You don't care. And we're really talking about law-abiding citizens, and should they have the means for self-defense? So we've already got them admitting that there's no historical precedent for a magazine ban. And that was in state court. Well, that's admissible into federal court too. And so, frankly, they've all really kind of cooked their own goose. So we're excited about using Bruin. I jokingly say I'm going to erect a temple to Clarence Thomas, who wrote the Bruin decision, and God bless the man for it, because it could mean the end of a great number of communist Second Amendment violations in our country, and we're going to do our darndest. And I know other people are doing their best to use that decision. Great. Let's go out and use this tool, because frankly, we may never get another chance at it.
Oh yeah, no, this has been an exciting time, and just watching the filings, the litigations, the concessions. I got to be honest with you. The only thing that I maybe I shouldn't be shocked. I might be just too quixotic here. Is New York? I did not expect this state that the opinion was directed at, and I mean directed at, to be digging in as much as they are. But that's about the only thing that shocked me in a huge way recently. And then of course, this was kind of out of left field. I didn't expect it. Saw it, read it, and I was like, "Holy cow!" I said, this is great. I gotta talk to Dudley about this."
Well, and I think the, we think we have these guys over a barrel, and the city of Superior right now is still saying that Michael Bloomberg and every town are going to dump money into this case and help the city of Superior. Of course, you might say, "Oh, you guys are bullies for picking on a little tiny town." Well, we already went that route of fighting the state of Colorado and the Attorney General's office, even under a Republican Attorney General when we first started the case, was committing 5 attorneys off full-time staff to fight it. And trust me, they did not pull any punches. So we're happy to go after a small town and test Bruin and see how usable it is, if it's exactly as we think it is. I do know that from change shoes for just a moment. If you are a woke leftist who wants to ban guns in, you name it, New York, you don't want the proliferation of firearms in the state of New York or the city of New York, and all of a sudden you've got this court case from the Supreme Court that says you can't do that. Well, frankly, as a politician who's elected by leftists, the only real question is how far left can you go, and that really dictates your level of success in climbing the political ladder in New York. It's a badge of honor to lose in a fight like that. I mean, I think that's what's happening here in this little tiny town of Superior. I think they're going to fight it to the bitter end, which I don't think will be very long. But they're wearing this as a badge of honor that they fought the gun lobby, and even if they lose, I'll confess, as a longtime, representative of gun owners around the country, and especially in Colorado here, that even when we lose, I feel like our members require me to fight and not to capitulate. I don't know if you're as critical as I am about the NRA, but I've been the most vocal critic of the NRA on the pro-gun side for 30 years, because I detest the going out and cutting a deal on gun control and compromising on one of their issues. I don't believe in that at all. I don't believe the long-term path to victory is by just conceding and appeasing. I'll borrow an actual Benjamin Franklin quote. Well, I've heard it attributed to both Benjamin Franklin and Winston Churchill. Maybe, yeah. I believe it. I think it was Churchill. An appeaser is one who feeds the crocodile, hoping it will eat him last.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. It is Churchill. And I just don't think I won't do that. I know that, and I've argued with NRA lobbyists both at the state and federal level. When they passed instant check system, the Brady system, which I might add is the gun control that everybody uses when they want to enact a new crazy gun control scheme. They use the Brady system. And I'm old enough to remember what the Brady system is. It's Sarah Brady and her leftist clan, passing gun control. And it's the cornerstone for all gun control. Well, that was really enabled by compromise.
I try to remind people every chance I get, when the Brady name comes up, we have to remember at one time they were called Handgun Control Inc. So
that's right.
They wore it on their sleeve.
And I still have a banner that we used when Rudolph Giuliani did a news conference with Handgun Control Inc. and Chuck Schumer and James Brady on the Capitol steps in Washington, D.C., endorsing gun control. and which is one of the reasons I've always detested Rudolph Giuliani. But it was handgun controlling.
Yeah.
I think they changed the name, frankly, because they didn't just want to control handguns, right?
Right. Well, that and it kind of put it out there exactly what their intentions were, you know. Um, so I think this is all really great what you guys got going on, and I think we're going to find out here shortly how superiors laws are, and if they're going to hold up. I really don't think they are, and I think that's great that you're also going after the statewide magazine bans and stuff like that. So, are you going to go after some of these other towns that kind of broke cadence with the preemption stuff and passing other? So you are planning on going after some other towns?
Yeah, we haven't publicly announced it yet, but we're doing a plaintiff search right now to go grab the other towns. Those will probably be consolidated all into the same case.
Sure.
So we might as well fight them all fight them at once.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And but the one thing the Bible talks about, only a fool builds a tower, but doesn't count the cost. And so going out and picking fights in court without planning on how you're going to fund it is kind of idiocy. Great if you are going to put more pressure on yourself to actually get the funding, but you can have egg on your face when you find out, gosh, we can't actually finish this. I remember the Colorado magazine ban we filed in the state, and that cost right at $250,000. And for a state level gun group, that's a pretty big chunk of change.
Sure is.
And honestly, I wish I were a better fundraiser. If I were a better fundraiser and knew more high dollar donors and could make the phone calls and raise the money, I'd pick every fight we possibly could, but we don't have the money the NRA has, and so we have to be a little careful about getting too big for our britches. We think we've got a winning recipe here, and we're going to be announcing a few things in the coming weeks. So,
well, that's great. I got two more questions for you if you got the time. One, real quick, San Jose, what's going on over there?
I'll confess I don't have a daily update on San Jose. They have backed down and said they will not enforce what is their First Amendment violation, essentially, by forcing you to join an anti-gun group when you buy a gun and maintain a membership in this anti-gun group. We know they're not. Right now, they're saying they're not going to enforce that until other pending legislation happens. Will they end up backing down? Maybe on some of the provisions, but yes, we might have to follow that to a greater length. And that probably brings up the California doxing issue, which is where the state of California basically the AG gave out information on people who applied for concealed handgun permits and they just doxed gun owners in the state. They said it was a mistake. No one bought it.
It's an accident. It's an accident.
Yeah, if you believe that, I got a bridge in Manhattan to sell you.
Right. So, all right. Yeah. Well, that's
those are two big other ones that are happening right now.
Well, that's real cool, Dudley. The other question I got is, how can people find you? Give me your sales pitch. Tell me where people can locate all the organizations that you're working with here.
Well, National Association for Gun Rights. You can find us at gunrights.org. We're the second largest gun rights group in America. The first, if you don't count the NRA as being pro-gun, which I really don't. And I'm very critical of what they've done over the last 4 decades. I just don't agree with them. I don't think they represent me, and really that's why we created the organization, the National Association for Gun Rights. We're based out of Colorado, which is where I live, and but we have a staff of, I think right now we're about a staff of 75 people, and most of them based in northern Colorado, but a lot of DC and Texas and Indiana and Michigan, all around the country. And we're big on Facebook. We've got a growing YouTube channel. You can look up my channel, which is Dudley's Range Rogues, and where I do some fun shooting stuff and talk politics. And we're very interested in activists. We work very closely with some other gun groups, especially Farmers of America. I think they're great guys. Always have long time friends. I'm a life member of theirs. And rarely do we ever actually disagree on policy or candidates. And so we love to team up with them. And frankly, we're happy that now that there's other groups, on our earlier call, you mentioned Firearms Policy Coalition, that filed some good lawsuits. We're happy to help out and work wherever we can with the groups. There's plenty to go around. We're honest. One of my rules is be honest with gun owners. They've gotten so much smoke blown up their skirt for so many decades. They need to be told what's actually happening. When deals are being cut in Washington, D.C., with their rights, they need to be told that and not treated as if they're idiots. And I think they're starting to wake up to that concept. I don't pull any punches. I tell you what I think. Even if it angers people, okay, I'll just tell you what I think. And you can argue with me if you want to.
All right, Dudley. Well, I definitely appreciate your time today. And do keep me posted on all that stuff you got going on. You know how to reach me. So definitely send me some emails. And have everyone check out NAGR and Rocky Mountain Gun Owners online. And if you got anything else to add, Dudley, we can part off with that.
No, thank you. Appreciate the time, Sean.
All right, Dudley. Have a good one.